year after revelations of shocking animal cruelty that brought the cattle exports to a standstill, the industry is fighting back. Beef producers claim they lost hundreds of millions of dollars after the government stopped the trade, and now they're demanding compensation. 7:30 has learned of secret talks between the government and the cattle industry to head off a class action lawsuit which could cost Australian taxpayers dearly. Hayden Cooper reports.
Almost 1 year has passed since the cattle industry in the nation's north was rocked to its core. First by sickening pictures of animal cruelty at abattoirs in Indonesia, and then by the government's response.
Last night I ordered the complete suspension of all livestock exports to Indonesia for the purposes of slaughter until new safeguards are established for the trade.
The ban lasted for a month. The seething anger from farmers lasted much longer.
What you've done here to this group of people in this room is absolute bloody bullshit.
With new and stronger auditing requirements, the trade has resumed, but according to the industry in the Northern Territory, the damage done is still being felt.
It's still pretty tough up here. Cattle production isn't like retail and manufacturing where you can just close the doors and then reopen the doors later on. Producers normally put their profits they make into the next year's production. So from their point of view, it's a very tough year still this year.
So how big were the losses? Official surveys at the time revealed that more than 300 employees were laid off at farms across the top end. Industry insiders say the cost to businesses was huge.
Everyone involved lost significant amounts of money from stock feed suppliers, holding yards, trucking companies, as well as producers, the live exporters, ship owners, and right down in through the chain to the people there in feedlots in Indonesia, where they rely on the live export industry to provide income for hundreds of thousands of people.
Now, from the offices of the Minter Ellison law firm in Canberra, the push for payback has begun. They're representing a group of clients from across the industry. It's highly secretive. The law firm won't talk about it. None of the claimants will either. Indeed, most people in the cattle export industry know nothing about it. But 7:30 understands the group is making a claim for hundreds of millions of dollars in compensation from the government.
I call the Treasurer.
Buried deep in last week's budget papers is confirmation of the case. It's listed as an unquantifiable liability.
The Australian government may become liable for compensation. A potential class action has been received from a law firm on behalf of 21 clients.
The case hasn't reached the courts. Instead, it's a direct negotiation with the government.
There are many cattlemen up here. Their losses would have been in the range of $1 million or pretty close to it, and there would have been a lot of them.
Then and now, Bob Katter is one politician who maintains the farmers were let down by those who govern.
As I understand it, Indonesia has said, we've had a gutful of you, no more.
To this day, Indonesia's quota of cattle from Australia is well down on what it was before the ban. Bob Katter likes the chances of a class action if it gets that far, but he believes it should be directed at Meat and Livestock Australia.
The body that was paid $100 million a year to look after our interests, quite frankly, had done nothing whatsoever. So, I mean, a magnificent case for a class action, but I would think that the MLA would be caught in the action here.
The MLA is not the target of this action, but other industry lawyers agree it should be, based on claims that the industry body knew of animal cruelty but failed to stop it.
They had the knowledge in a joint report published in 2010 and really failed to let the industry know there was a time bomb ticking. They allowed the time bomb to explode.
Norman Hunt represents other clients in the industry. He's advising them to wait for the negotiations with the government to be resolved before taking action.
I think the claims could be significant. I'm not sure if it really is hundreds of millions of dollars, but there are lots of people that have bought properties in the top end specifically for the live export trade. The value of those properties dropped as a consequence. A lot of people got caught with cattle ready to go that they couldn't send, had to sell at a huge discount on the Australian market. So the potential claim could be quite significant.
As for the minister, he too says he can't talk about the cattle class action led by Minter Ellison. In the past, he's steadfastly maintained he did the right thing.
In taking this action, I've ensured that this industry, which I support, will continue into the future.
But behind the scenes, this case is far from closed.
Hayden Cooper reporting.